soon, but it ain't happening. That's okay. I can use the cell phone. It's just a little harder. That's all. We'll keep working on it. I don't want to hold everybody else up.
Where's Leggett?
Oh, now it says connecting. There it is.
Yay.
Yay.
There he is.
That's right.
Janet, you're connecting to two places and you're getting feedback on the audio.
Okay, somebody else.
Wait, I'm gonna. I'm trying to get you off of the cell phone.
Okay, I think Janet is the one that was giving us some kickback, so I'm gonna mute.
I'm trying to get off on the cell phone.
Okay, let me do a quick roll call here. I see Walter, I see Ava Kleinman, Bob Leggett, John Fox, and I think Janet is back.
I'm here.
And I believe we have Katrina from POA ARC is on the call. I see Mike Karamis.
Yes, sir.
Kevin Whaley, hopefully I said that right. And I don't know who Galaxy Tab A is.
There's Katrina.
And we are good to go, Mr. Chairman. Walter, can you hear?
Yes, we ready to
Okay.
go?
We're good to go.
We're ready?
Yep.
Okay. The time is now 2:43. I'm calling this meeting of the Town of Seabrook Island Board of Zoning Appeals to order. Present are myself, Walter Sewell, Chairman, our Vice Chair, Ava Kleinman, fellow board members Bob Leggett, John Fox, and our newest member, Janet Gorski. Janet has replaced Dick Finkelstein, who resigned last December. Welcome, Janet. Very good to have you.
Nice to be here.
As all 5 members are present, we have a quorum. Also in attendance is our zoning administrator, Joe Cronin. Mr. Cronin, has notification of this meeting been properly posted as required by South Carolina Freedom of Information Act?
Yes, sir.
We have the following 4 items on the agenda for this meeting. Election of the chair and vice chair of this board for 2020 and the appointment of the secretary for 2020, as we were required to do at the first meeting of each calendar year. Second item, approval of minutes from our most recent hearing on August 15, 2019. Third, receipt of any information associated with the 3 variance requests that will be heard by the board on Friday, June the 5th at 2:30 p.m. Last, discussion of any procedures to be followed by board members in individually visiting each of the 3 sites. Let's begin with the election of officers for this calendar year. The chair will now open the floor to nominations for the position of chair for 2020. Do I have any nomination?
I
Nominate Walter.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any other nominations?
Walter, I did not get the nomination. Can whoever made that repeat it?
I did, John. I did,
And who did you nominate?
Walter.
And
I
Janet?
seconded it.
That's,
All right.
Do I have any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor of electing Walter Sewell as chair, please signify by saying yes.
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 Those opposed by saying no. It's 5 votes yes, it's unanimous. Now, we will move on to the position of vice chair, for which I will nominate Ava Kleinman.
Second.
I have a nomination and a second. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor of electing Ava Kleinman as vice chair, please signify by saying yes.
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 Yes. Those opposed, no. It is unanimous. Ava will continue as vice chair. We now need to appoint a secretary for 2020. I move that we appoint our zoning administrator, Joe Cronin, to the position of secretary for 2020. Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor of appointing Joe Cronin as secretary, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Those opposed by saying no. It's 5-0. It's unanimous. Joe will be our secretary for this calendar year. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our hearing on August 15th, 2019. Each of us received a draft of the minutes of the hearing. Are there any revisions, changes, or corrections to be made? If not, may I have a motion to vote to approve?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second,
All in favor say yes.
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 Those opposed, no. It's unanimous. The minutes are,
Walter, can I just abstain since I would have no idea whether the minutes were right, wrong, or?
that's fine. Fine. Janet will abstain. The vote is 4-0. Minutes are approved. That completes all of our housekeeping issues for this meeting. Mr. Cronin, are there any materials associated with the 3 upcoming hearings that you are able to provide at this time?
Yeah, there were, you should have all received copies of the letters that went out to the neighboring property owners last week. I'm gonna try to pull those up on the screen here. If you can give me 1 second. Hopefully this will work. Let's do a share.
This is in addition to what we picked up at last Friday.
No, this is a copy of what you would have picked up last Friday.
Fine. So there's nothing beyond what we would receive last Friday if we came by to get it. Is that correct?
That's right, and I was able to get it pulled up on the screen. We can just run through them really quickly. As you know, typically what we do is our pre-meeting, we'll schedule a site visit to allow the board members to observe the properties before voting at the regular public hearing. Obviously, with the restrictions on group congregations, we're not able to do that at this time. So we've provided copies of the paper applications and supporting materials for each of those requests to you. Those will also be included in the packet when we have our the public hearing the first Friday in June. I believe it's the 5th. What I will invite you to do in the packet, you will have received contact information for each of the applicants. If you would like to go by the property and view it in advance of the meeting, I would just recommend that each of you reach out individually to the contact person, the owner of each of those properties, and just make sure if there's a day and time you want to go out, just make sure that that would be a convenient time to do that. I know there's one in particular, 3713 Bonita Court. It's variance number 163. That one, it's on the front side of the property. It's a corner lot. So that one should be plainly visible from the right of way. So you should just be able to go by and see that. But if you do need to go on the property, I would just recommend that you contact the owners in advance of doing that. And that will be done in lieu of our what would typically be done today, which is our site visit. So what I'd like to do next, Mr. Chair, if it's okay, is just do a quick run through, an introduction of each of the three requests, if that's all right.
Please.
Okay, do you see on your screen the application for variance?
Yes.
Huh?
Okay, good. This is a request coming in for 3713 Bonita Court. This is variance number 163, property zone single family residential. Applicants are proposing to construct a second floor deck on one of the two fronts of the property. It is a corner lot. The applicant is Daniel Kim, the architect, and the property owner is Mr. James Luce. And I will jump ahead to the proposed site plan, which you should be able to see on the screen now. So up on the top left side is Bonita Court. It actually loops around onto the other side of the property. Like I said, it is a corner lot. Down in the one corner closest to the street intersection, you'll see a portion where the structure is proposed to come out, and that's basically what they're seeking approval for the variance for. There's another portion of the existing home that's actually already encroaching into the setback. This would be an addition of a new second floor deck that would come out and encroach approximately 4 feet into what would be the secondary front. A corner lot is going to have 2 front yard setbacks and 2 side yard setbacks. So on both frontages, you'd be looking at 30 feet. The proposed second story deck would be, like I said, approximately 26 feet. So it would be about a 4 foot or so encroachment. So that is what's going to be requested for that one. And in your packet, we did include some drawings of the deck as well. Let's see if I can rotate that here.
Is there anything in the submittal that says what year this house was built?
I don't believe there is in the submittal, but when you get your packet for the public hearing in June, that information will be included.
And my other question is, so the contact person is the architect, Daniel Kim?
I would recommend reaching out to Mr. Luce. He's the property owner, and just verifying if you do want to visit the property. If you're just going by, this one, like I said, is visible from the right of way. So if you're just doing a drive-by, you should be okay. But if you do want to go onto the property, I would just recommend reaching out to Mr. Luce in advance of your visit.
Okay, well, given where it's located, I don't know of any reason why I would need to go onto the property for that one.
And the existing structure is actually, it's about 22 feet off of the secondary street frontage. So this one, while it will be encroaching, the new construction will be encroaching. It will actually be further off the right of way than a portion of the existing structure. This part right in that area. Hopefully you can see my cursor moving around. Were there any other questions about 3713 Bonita Court?
I wanted to hope this is the time. That would be considered an irregular lot, wouldn't it?
I'm sorry, I was getting some noise.
Would this be considered an irregular lot?
I don't know that I would call it an irregular lot. It's definitely a corner lot because you have the street frontages on both sides. Most of those, I guess I always call them the T-shaped streets going down by the ocean. You have Bonita and Amberjack and Cobia and a bunch of them all down there.
No, they all do the same thing, yes.
Yeah, they all have the same, on the, I guess, the inside portion of that T intersection, they all have two lots where they both have frontage on both sides. But our ordinance allows when you have a corner lot like that, instead of having a front, a rear, and two sides, you would have two fronts and two sides, and you would not have a rear. So in this instance, you would have 30 feet double front yard setback along both frontages there. And then the interior property lines would both be, looks like 12.5 feet.
Well, it's apparent that this house was, at the time this house was designed and built, either their setbacks didn't exist as they do today, or they were ignored, not enforced. Because you pointed out the middle of the house goes well into the front setback. And what they're proposing to add will project out less far than what's already there.
Yeah, there's encroachments all over this.
Joe, at the hearing, will you be able to provide information as to the history of this house and why there are portions of the house that violate the setbacks already?
Yeah, I was actually just pulling it up while you were talking on the county's tax records. It looks like the house was built around 1982. Town, of course, was incorporated in 1987. So assuming it was built before the town became a town, it would have been built under the county's setback requirements, which are different than what the town has today.
So you'll mention that in the hearing when we take that as evidence.
I will, and I'll include that in the packet as well.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Did you say 1982?
Yeah, that's what's shown. It says year built on the county tax records. I believe that's when the CO was issued. So it was likely permitted sometime around 81, maybe sometime in 81, completed in 82, thereabouts.
That year is significant in my mind because 1982 was the year that all the Bohicket Marina Village villas were built. And when we had to deal with them having to replace their disintegrated rear staircases, it was obvious that there were no one was following any rules about rear setbacks with any of those units in terms of the staircases. And that was 1982.
And I thought you were going to say 1981 was significant because that's the year I was born.
Well,
Very highly significant. Okay.
Any other questions about that one?
Not for me.
No, no.
Janet or Bob?
No,
No.
Okay. Then we will move on to the second one. That's for property located at 2710 Old Oak Walk, also zoned single-family residential zoning district. The owners are Andrew and Susan Hodge, and the architect and applicant is Michael Karamis, the architect. For this one, I will pull that site plan up on the screen as well. Rotate. So you should hopefully see on the screen right now, that is the existing condition survey. So you'll see this is Old Oak Walk up on the bottom left of the screen. At the rear, there's a lake on the back side of the property. There's an existing deck. You'll see on the back part labeled deck. It's about 22.9 feet off of the rear property line, which does conform with the requirements. When you abut open space, you can be 15 feet for an open deck off of the rear property line. So this deck is 22.9 feet. So right now, everything's good. What the applicants are seeking approval to do is to screen in a portion of that existing deck to convert it into a porch. What our ordinance requires is once you enclose it, put a roof over it, it's no longer an open deck. At that point, it becomes a porch, and as such, has to meet the 25-foot rear yard setback. So that porch, as it's shown, would encroach at its greatest depth approximately 2.2 feet into the required 25-foot rear yard setback. So you're looking at a 2.2 foot encroachment, basically not significantly changing the footprint of what's there, but converting part of it from a deck into enclosed covered structure. So when you change that, it has to be 25 feet off instead of 15 feet off. And again, so that one will be requesting a reduction of the rear yard setback by 2.2 feet in order to close that in.
You said it backs to a marsh?
Yeah, it actually backs up to a lake or lagoon on the
Okay.
back of the property.
It's over in the lakes. Actually, backs up an old sand pit. A lake now.
And Michael Karamis is the contact to view this.
Michael is the architect. I know he's on the call, and the owners, like I said, are Andrew and Susan Hodge. So if you would like to go out and view the property, this one you would have to go into the backyard to look at it. I would recommend reaching out to the owners before scheduling a time to do that.
To contact the owner.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions about 2710 Old Oak Walk?
Not for me.
All right.
I'm sorry, Joe, do you have the date this house was built? I thought it was in here someplace, but I can't seem to find it at the moment.
It was the mid-'80s before the town was incorporated.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
According to the county tax records, they're showing it being completed around 1991. So
Really?
yeah, that's what it's showing.
it doesn't look like there's any existing encroachment in it, so that shouldn't have been an issue in 1991 either, should it?
No, everything that's on this plan, the current as-built survey does conform with the current zoning requirements. So odds are, usually when you see something completed in 1991, that would have been any time in 1991. So very possible that could have been permitted sometime in 89 or something. A lot of houses out here tend to take between 12 and 18 months or so to complete. So the year that's shown on the tax records, that's the time it was completed. So sometime in 1991 is what's being shown. Any other questions about 2710 Old Oak Walk?
Yes, I'm just curious if the owners are Andrew and Susan Hyde. They're not listed as living there. The address is Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and the phone numbers are 717. So are they here or are they there?
Are you asking right now, or are you asking if they live there permanently?
If I'm contacting them about going onto their property, does it matter whether they're here or not?
I would just reach out to them if they are okay with you going on while they're not here. That would be up to them. If they would prefer to be here, they may want to schedule a time for when they can be here.
Okay. That's it.
This is Andy Hodge. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. This is the first time I use this app, so forgive me, but I just figured out how to do it. You're welcome to go look at it anytime. We're going to be going down there on Saturday. We are up in Pennsylvania right now, but it's no trouble going around in the backyard and taking a look at it.
Okay, thank you. My primary purpose is just to see, looking across the water to get a feel for what people that are backed up to you on the other side of the lake will be seeing. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, you're welcome to take a look. We will be there from going down on Saturday, be there for a couple of weeks, but you know, you're welcome to go over and take a look, or call. You can call the number that's on the application. That's my cell number if you want to give us a heads up, but we'll be there for the next 2 weeks, beginning on Saturday.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
I will also have it outlined with red tape as well. So you will be able to see where it is on the existing deck.
Perfect.
Okay, good.
And Michael, I think you can verify, but I believe the 2.2 foot encroachment, not all of that is the wall of the structure. That's
The 2.2 is to the edge of the roof overhang.
the edge of the overhang. So the structure will be in a little bit.
The structure will align with the existing deck construction. So the physical walls of the structure will be on top of the existing deck, and the roof will go 8 inches beyond the deck.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on 2710 Old Oak Walk?
Not from me.
Okay, then we will move on to the last one. That'll be upcoming. That's variance application number 165. This is for 2385 The Hallover. The owners are Robert and Lynn Minor. The property is zoned SR, single family residential. And that house I will pull it up just to confirm it was completed in
Oops, here in 1979.
I don't know why our internet's so slow here today. There we go. That one was completed in 1979, so that too will predate our existing zoning requirements. Applicants are seeking to construct a screen porch at the rear of the property. That porch would encroach approximately 12 feet into the 25-foot rear yard setback. So we will pull up the site plan on that one. As you can see, this one also has a pond in the rear. There's an existing porch in the back. What they're seeking to do is fairly similar to the last one, to enclose a portion of the rear. Again, when you put walls, you put covering, those type things over it. At that point, it's no longer a pervious deck or something along those lines. It becomes part of the principal structure and would have to meet the 25-foot rear yard setback. So this one will be approximately 13 feet from the rear property line. So it would encroach at its closest point approximately 12 feet at the point in the back closest to the stone paver patio. And this would be the page I have up on the screen. The rear would be on the top part of the screen. You see the existing deck. Just to the left of that would be the new screen porch.
The dimensions, yeah, hold it right there. The dimensions of interest, from my perspective, that are missing is that, I'm going to say, the 25-foot setback line, the 15-foot setback line, and what I assume is the rear property line, what the dimension would be from there to the lagoon.
From the corner of the screen porch all the way down to the lagoon.
Well, if the setback lines were put in there relative to the rear property line, then I know that piece of it. The other thing I think of interest to all of us would be how far from the rear property line is the lagoon?
Yeah, just looking at the scale. So if on the left side of this drawing here, you see to the back deck, there is a call out of a little over 27 feet. So that'll get you pretty close to the 25-foot line. So if you just kind of drew an imaginary line just a little ways over, that'll tell you about where 25 feet is. And
Yeah.
I would guess from the property line down to the edge of the water, the top of the pond is going to be at least an additional 27 feet. And I can scale it when we do the full agenda packet, but I would guess probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 30 feet plus or minus from the line down to the top of the pond.
Okay,
Joe, you'll provide that information in the packet for the
Sure.
hearing?
Sure.
Between the property line and the lagoon, is it like trees and stuff?
I don't have the aerial on here. That'll be included in the packet as well.
Part of it is kind of open. And Joe, I think you guys have a site plan that has those dimensions. I'll send it to you.
Am I correct in assuming that this adjoins the golf course?
Well, it doesn't adjoin the golf course, but you can see the golf course is across the lagoon. So
Right.
you can
But that
see
would-
this property from some areas on the golf course. And you could see the golf course from this property by looking across, but it's looking across the lagoon, whatever this open space is between the back property line and the lagoon, and then looking across the lagoon to the golf course.
Okay, I didn't know whether the pond was on the golf course or not. Okay,
On the other side of the pond, it abuts to the golf course.
yes.
The other side of the pond in this location is actually Wood Duck Place. So there are other houses on the other side of the pond.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
The pond is actually owned by the club. And you'll see it was included, the application packet was on the last page of the information that was sent out before the meeting. There was a letter in the packet of support, a variance request from the club. I've included it in here. It'll also be in the packet for the June public hearing.
what is the area of this lot? I think I saw it somewhere. I can't find it now. The number of square feet of the whole lot.
The 44,901 square feet, so just a hair under 1 acre.
Oh, I see it down here. Total lot area, 44,901.
Yeah, 1 acre's 43,560, so just a hair over 1 acre. So it's pretty good sized lot.
For Seabrook, that's huge.
And again, if with this one being on the backside, if you do want to go out and view the property, I would recommend contacting Mr. or Mrs. Minor prior to going out to the property. Their information will be included in the materials that were sent.
Fine.
Joe, is the office open today for someone, if I call in for someone to get me the package or leave it outside for me?
Yeah, we reopened today, regular office hours, so we're here 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day.
Okay, thank you.
So the packet that's available now is not the same as the packet for the hearing?
It is.
No, the one for the hearing, what was given to you for today's meeting is basically a copy of the application material. So it has the variance application form, the relevant drawings from the site plan, construction drawings. As we said, this one actually had a letter of support with it. When you get the full packet for the meeting in June, you'll have a bunch of additional information, including photos. A lot of times we'll go and if we have them, we'll pull as-built for neighboring properties, just so you can get a little bit of context of what's around there. If we receive any additional letters of support or letters in opposition to a request, because we have sent out the notifications for the hearing, those will all be included in the packet. So this is basically just a copy of what was sent out to the neighboring property owners, which is what we have to do under our ordinance, is provide notification to the neighboring property owners to let them know about the hearing. So what was sent to you is the same information that was sent to the surrounding property owners. And then once we have the full agenda packet, that'll go out in advance of the meeting in June. And it will include a staff write-up with additional information, as well as several other supplemental documents.
So is there really any point in coming and looking at the one you have now? I mean, since this meeting is going to be over, should I just wait until you get the other one ready?
The other one will be ready usually about a week or so before the hearing. We try to get it out a week before.
Okay. So are you going to send us notification when it's ready to be picked up then?
Yes.
Could you do that, please?
Yeah, I'll send out the full packet, and then anyone who wants a paper copy can stop by Town Hall and pick one up. And one other item to note, just for all three of these hearings, obviously this is going to be a little bit different. We're kind of in some uncharted waters here. While Town Hall is back open to the public, all of our staff are back here working out of the office again. We still are not holding meetings in council chambers. With any variance or any appeal, by law has to include a public hearing. When you cannot have a group congregation like we typically would in council chambers, it makes it a bit more difficult to have an actual true public hearing. So what we've done for this one is, and we're going to do the same thing for our town council public hearings in June. When we sent the notification out to the surrounding property owners, when we posted the hearing on our website, when we advertised it in the newspaper, what we're doing is we're asking individuals to submit written comments, either in favor or opposition to each request. We've asked for all those comments to come in advance of the meeting so that we can share those with you prior to the meeting on June 5th. And we want to do that just so, one, we have an opportunity for anyone who does want to comment on the request, knowing that they can't actually come to the meeting in council chambers and speak. We do still want to make sure they have an opportunity to provide their input and feedback on the request. And then two, by doing it in writing, we'll also be able to document, what those comments are and maintain them for the public record. So what we'll do is when we get those, we'll do it a little bit differently than we normally do. When we get into the public hearing, you will have gotten them in advance of the meeting, but just for the sake of the public record, I will go through and just read and state for the public record who we received comments from and what the nature of those comments were. So that is how we are planning to handle the actual public hearing portion for the meeting in June.
Joe, we will be, this will be structured in a way that we can ask questions and have a dialogue with owners and architects and whoever is presenting from that angle.
Yeah, we anticipate, like we did today, we will provide the dial-in information to the owner and the applicant for each of the requests, and they will be available. With this being a Board of Zoning Appeals, it's like a quasi-judicial type process. So ultimately, it's on the applicants and the owners to present and justify their request to you. So they will have an opportunity to be on the call for that meeting, and you will have an opportunity to ask questions of them during the meeting.
Is that it?
That's everything that I had.
Okay, fine, then I think we've covered all the items. The only thing I would request is for anybody, any board member, including myself, visiting any of these sites, do make the contact and write down or make sure you remember when you actually visited the site. So if anything comes up about that, you'll be prepared to say when you were there. Our next meeting is scheduled for Friday, June the 5th, 2:30 p.m., at which time we'll conduct the 3 hearings in succession for each of the 3 variance requests, number 163, 164, and 165. Having completed all the items on the agenda and there being no further business, Chair will now entertain a motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Do I have
Second,
a second?
second,
I have a motion from Ava to adjourn and a second from somebody.
Mrs. G.
Bob Leggett. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Very much, folks.
I'm just wondering what it's going to be like to do 3 hearings back to back in this medium.
We'll find out in a couple of weeks.
We sure will. Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.